Welcome, everyone. Let's open with this inspiring quote. Living consciously and with the attention in the here and now, being vigilant, contributes to awakening the soul. Another classic way to awaken the soul and make it active is to allow the sacred texts to speak to you and ponder them. That's what we're doing here. I'm going to include the link to where I got that quote in the show notes down below. And let us add to that Edi's statement here. The deeper significance of any symbol and symbolism in general can only be revealed by profound study and contemplation. And symbolism, the language of the mystery teachings, is our subject. We're in volume 3 at the bottom of page 5 of Unfolding Consciousness, exploring the living universe and the intelligent powers in nature and human. These are the abilities in you. You are all connected. The universe, the cosmos, you, it's in you. So this is a colossal 4-volume set by Dr. Edi Bilimoria. Very exciting news. The ebooks are finally out globally, wherever you find your ebooks. Links are down below, and they're only $24.99 in most local currencies. So they've been a long time coming, and there's lots more on the way as well. We have audiobooks, paperbacks, condensed versions of each of these volumes. All kinds of things are on the way as well. Remember, if you want to skip ahead and go directly to the reading of the book, I put the timestamp for you down below. They're the little blue numbers. And this is book study 42 already. Remember, you get 25% off the 4-volume hardback set for yourself, for a library, for your friend, for Christmas. Just type in "I want my copy!" in your discount code area on the Shepherd Walwyn website. There is a link down below to that as well. Our yellow post-it study notes for today they're always in the corner of each page in the hardback versions. The symbolic meaning of the Cretan legend, the Minotaur, uniting man with his source, and the allegory of the thread. So let's begin with the thread and the dog, always finding the source. The thread is a common symbol of the philosophical quest for truth through the labyrinth, through traps and woes of mortal existence. In the famous Cretan legend, the hero Theseus unrolls a ball of thread as he winds his way through the labyrinth to encounter and slay the Minotaur, and then follows the thread back out of the maze. The other end of the thread is held by a princess named Ariadne, who falls in love with a handsome young Theseus. Now, Edi includes here an interesting note in Middle English. Listen, a ball of string or rolled up yarn was called a clue, C-L-E-W. Eventually, the word took on a metaphorical meaning of something that will lead a person towards a solution, and quickly. The spelling then changed to C-L-U-E, clue. Now, in this story, there are several symbols and many allegorical meanings, but above all else, all right, it depicts the path of the spiritual hero. That is each and every one of us, one day or another, sooner or later. Theseus represents the human soul, indissolubly linked to the Ariadne, who is the spiritual soul. So they're indissolubly linked via the thread. That's the higher mind that is always seeking its source. The Minotaur, of course, stands for the animal or terrestrial soul. That's our lower self. The animal passions, the sensual nature. Now, sensual doesn't always mean sexual. It just means our senses in the physical world. That's how we interpret everything. It's taste, it's sight, sound, smell, touch. Did I do them all? Anyway, this sensual nature can get lost in the tangled confusions and conflicting demands of the everyday lower mind associated with the trials of existing here on planet Earth, and which they must be subdued in order to free the mind and release the spiritual nature from the bondage of earthly desires. Now, the love between Ariadne and Theseus symbolizes the inseparable bond between the spiritual soul and its human counterpart. The guiding thread is, and you know this, the guiding thread between the higher and lower is what? The antakarana. That's right, the vehicle of consciousness, the bridge between the animal and the spiritual natures. We all have one. We did a whole episode on that. It's back there. I'll put a link down below. This sacred relationship between the human soul and the spiritual soul is embodied by the bond between the disciple and his master, between the initiate and his God. That is us. We're on this path. It is also symbolized by the dog here. because of the dog's uncanny ability to follow unseen persons for miles. This symbolizes the transcendental, which just means otherworldly or spiritual when you hear the word transcendental. Transcendental power by which the philosopher, the inquirer here, the aspirant, follows the thread of truth through all psychological struggles or earthly trials and tribulations, through all of it. There's so much suffering here. Side note from me, if you are this far, if you've gone this far in this lesson, you could certainly apply this to your own journey, to all of your suffering, all of your times you thought you weren't going to make it, all of this, oh my God, this is too bad, I can't do this. This is you. We're talking about your journey. And moreover, the dog is able to sense when its master is returning home, which shows the bond that exists between the two, symbolizing the union between the human and the spiritual soul of each man, as we just talked about. Now, a different allegorical significance of the thread is what has been a constant theme throughout unfolding consciousness. This is the Sanskrit term sutratman, which is sutra and atman. Okay, so I know I told you sutra does mean a book, which is full of aphorisms like the Kama Sutra, but sutra also means a string or thread. So sutra, which means thread here, and atman, meaning the sacred thread that binds together, It refers to the secret doctrine, the perennial philosophy, the perennial wisdom, which acts as a thread, connecting like beads on a necklace all the contrasting, differing disciplines, the sciences, religions, and philosophies of this world into one organic unity. Recalling HPB's words, the esoteric doctrine may well be called the thread doctrine, since like Sutratman in the Vedanta philosophy, it passes through and strings together all the ancient philosophical religious systems and reconciles and explains them all. Blavatsky further explains the Atman, or spirit, the spiritual self, passes like a thread through the 5 subtle bodies or principles. It's called the thread soul, or Sutratman in Vedantic philosophy. Now, from what we just covered, the thread has 2 allegorical meanings for the aspirant, and that's us. We are the aspirants. If you're here this far, you're an aspirant. The first, somewhat personal, and the second, impersonal and universal. So the first one is to maintain focus and not become lost in the many circumstances of changing fortune, the trials and tribulations during life, and all of our ups and downs and dramas. And second, to unite the diversified elements of the sacred wisdom into an organic whole, the commonalities of all the world's religions, sciences, and philosophies. Oh, I love this. This is from the 3rd volume of Unfolding Consciousness, exploring the living universe and the intelligent powers in nature and humans. Remember, a way to awaken and activate the soul is to have sacred texts spoken to you. Let them speak to you. That's what I'm doing here. And then you contemplate them. So you can put this on loop if you can tolerate my commentary. Put this on loop, listen to these lessons. This is number 42. We've done 41 of them. We're going to go to 52, do a whole year of these. We've got more series coming up here on the Living Theosophy channel. We will have Tim Wyatt will be with us. He's coming up as we lead up to where the veil is the thinnest, Halloween, All Souls. We're going to be doing a whole series on death, reincarnation, and karma from his work, Cycles of Eternity. I'm also doing the Mental Magic series. We've resurrected that. We're doing that. That's William Walker Atkinson, who started this channel. His work, The 14 Lessons in Yogi Philosophy and Oriental Occultism, was what started this entire thing. So I'm so grateful you're here. We're going to be returning to Volume 3 next week. I love you. I appreciate you, dear aspirants. Lanus, oh Lanu, I love you, and I will see you next week.